got no dignity anymore, sweetheart. I did 5 years of this shit. From you, the WA police.
I don't want you to carry on.
I'm going to carry on until people realise off out of my life. No, let's go. Take me somewhere else. Take me to a car. Let's go. We'll get out of here. Take me to a car. Stephen Lieblich, the man who can ring up there every time I don't have a place to live anymore. You just came to my place where I lived, which I slaved to get, to a boarding house, and you're conducting a giant federal search for God knows what.
It likes the stuff. Yes, and documentaries around Midlands and 9/11 conspiracies and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And then all these blog stuff is all in there as well.
That's not under the scope of the body. Conspiracy theories and things like that. If it's anything to do with passenger laboratories, lubricants, sausage consumers, passenger laboratories, passenger laboratories, passenger laboratories.
Huh. That's odd. I thought that would be big news.
You thought what would be big news?
Well, there seems to be an absence of a certain ornithological piece. A headline regarding mass awareness of a certain avian variety.
What are you talking about?
Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
Heard what?
Brian, don't!
BIRD was established by the U.S. and Israeli governments with an extensive network in both countries.
As the fires burn in America and martial law prior to war in the South China Sea begins, and extreme shortages and trade dislocation looms, don't let them fool you. Change the lead, change the story. It's not a new concept.
You want me to produce your war? Not a war, it's a pageant. We need a theme, a song, some visuals. We need, it's a pageant. It's like the Oscars, that's why we came to you.
Change the story, change the lead. It's not a new concept. Change the story, change the lead. It's not a new concept. Change the story, change the lead. It's not a new concept.
I'm tired of my black men and my black women being shot, being killed by the NYPD.
We're limited in what we can do. We're falling down rapids. Just hang on and keep your head above water. Keep the narrative alive and never let Israel off the hook. Remember, Trump is the hero. He is going to save you from Google and YouTube and Twitter and Bill Gates and the vaccine app.
There's no precedent in American history for so small a number of corporations to control so large a sphere of human interaction.
They're moving away from the military-industrial complex as the economic stimulus and control mechanism, and they're moving towards space exploration. They have welded NASA and the Israeli Space Agency together, and it's all been done under the BIRD and the BSF, the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation and the Binational Science Foundation, all put into place under Kissinger in the 1970s. Trump is the hero. Watch Alex Jones admits Trump a product of Army intelligence. This is a Hollywood script as laid out in Video 5, Trump versus Corona, the forced economic collapse of America. After the war in the South China Sea and possible environmental catastrophe, Corona, Mark II, whatever, Trump will pull you from the ashes, and all you will have to do is accept the central banks as heroes and saviors, and the central bank in your area and the crypto app on your smartphone. It's doubtful the retail banks will be around anymore over time. Your 401k and superannuation is gone, but we will get some reprieve over Christmas and a little shopping. But this is not gonna stop, ever. This is a 2 to 3 year phase of operations. It is not over tomorrow, so keep fighting. Keep the narratives alive, the real narratives. Rothschild, the East India Trading Company, privatized, I repeat, privatized armies, privatized intelligence services. Rothschild's bastard sons, and his right and left hand, Soros and Kissinger. The world is a stage, and the propaganda mechanisms are in full swing. Knowing who's who or what's what in the zoo is really difficult. Just keep the narratives alive. Good luck, and remember Israel and stolen technology and what Netanyahu and his gang have done. Remember real-time data analytics. The old Cambridge Analytica and Aggregate IQ out of Canada are going full blast. These are all part of Rothschild's private intelligence network. Robert Mercer, Sheldon Adelson, all his friends. Data analytics are feeding back what they need to say and what narrative they need to run. The internet may be swept clear, completely. Exactly what's going to happen, I do not know, but they have to keep it on. They want the data analytics. They need to know what you're thinking and you're feeling. Good luck, and remember Israel and stolen technology and what Netanyahu and his gang have done. Please enjoy this video from March 2019, showing how stupid America has become and how Israel is going to save it. And keep your eye out for the Israeli Space Agency, Elon Musk, and welding NASA and the technology transfers via the space exploration program. God willing, we'll speak soon. Hi Internet friends, how are you today? Are you well? Today's date in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia is the 8th of February and it is it's dinner time. I better start planning which street side restaurant I shall attend that doesn't have MSG in the food. Great news, ladies and gentlemen, US friends. I'm here to tell you Israel, a blessing unto the nations, is saving the United States yet again. US to buy Israeli missile defenses in humiliating admission about failure of US systems. See? You need to send your high technology industry, particularly your military industrial complex, DARPA sections, and all of your latest and greatest cybersecurity and missiles, you need to send it to Israel. Oh, America, you're in such trouble. It's not funny. I'm not sure when pride's going to kick in, but hopefully soon. America announces it will buy Iron Dome defense system from Israel. Yes, because missile intercept technology, it's a bit like fashion. High heels are in, flat heels, short skirts, long skirts, flowing, tight. It's the fashion, and the fashion is anti-ballistic missile systems, and they all sit around at the arms, the bazaars, and all pretending to be different countries. The Chinese wear South Korean uniforms, and the Israelis wear American uniforms, and while they're drinking Chivas Regal and eating Australian King Tiger prawns, they all decide what's in this year, what section of the high technology sector and the military industrial complex do they have to, sorry, it's the vacuuming, do they have to push this year. And you know, China rings up Kim Jong-il, yo bro, just fire a couple of ballistic missiles over Japan. Yeah, we've got to stimulate Raytheon and the Tippy-2 radar systems and so on. There you go. Then they send all the tech to Israel for testing, where they test their ballistics on Arab Muslims, see how the flesh is eaten away by their latest white phosphorus aerial bombardment technology. And of course, Israel tests stuff, and then the Soviet Russian scientists posing as Jews in Israel then get all the technology, refine it, and give a little back to the US and say, nah, 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 nah. And the revenge for the 1992 collapse and the failure of the incompetent Soviet Union, the revenge is sweet as they bring down the United States from within with, is transferring the Californian US, Silicon Valley, high technology innovation edge, which once you lose, you've lost forever, and it's the end of the United States economically, completely. The security's gone, everything's gone. You may already be there. But as they transfer that to Israel, Soviet Israel, in bed with, of course, China, Russia, Israel, and Iran in the Belt and Road Project, as they make Greater Israel, which will be the new United States, the new Atlantis. All right, as they do that, do you see the distraction? What was it that Boris Berezovsky said? I'm going to make this short. Somehow I will make this short. What was it that Boris Berezovsky said? He said this: consider the fascinating perspective of the recently deceased Boris Berezovsky, once the most powerful of the Russian oligarchs and the puppet master behind President Boris Yeltsin during the late 1990s. After looting billions in national wealth and elevating Vladimir Putin to the presidency, he overreached himself and eventually went into exile. According to the New York Times, he had planned to transform Russia into a fake two-party state, one social democratic and one neoconservative. I'll repeat that. He had planned to transform Russia into a fake two-party state like the United States. One social democratic like the United States and one neoconservative, like the United States, Hillary and Don, in which heated public battles over Donald, and as Alex Jones would say, here's his latest on the demonic Chinese taking over. Listen.
There's no doubt now that this is an interdimensional alien invasion. And you notice they don't ever play me saying that. They don't attack it in the news because they know it. San Francisco, all of them, they worship it. They worship, they believe that they are, and if you read the Bible, it's exactly that, a literal lower level dimensional attack. And that's why when you run into these things, they're so low level, they're so stupid, they're so hateful, and all they want to do, like zombies, is kill people and attack children. So I guess it's the operating system of this thing to make us all kill each other. I mean, I've looked at every angle of it, but the point is the Pentagon and everybody else, and I had General Stubblebine who ran the operations about this, they were given volunteers, like astronauts, mega doses of drugs, okay, with wires hooked into their brains, and they were in interdimensional meetings with the damn aliens, giving them technology, okay? You don't meet the aliens in a flying saucer by the moon. You meet them in this interdimensional vortex. I'm not the one saying it. They're the ones that are doing it. Hell, Buzz Aldrin told me all this stuff too, off air. He's been on the show. I mean, they all know about it. And Trump and others are saying, man, let's not blow the planet up and kill everybody. And the Democrats and the globalists are like, they're the anti-human party. They're the collaborators with it. Call it the devil, call it aliens, whatever it is, man. I've had 3-star generals on that had people with wires hooked in their brains in damn 2-year meetings with aliens that lasted 1 second long. I mean, you understand, folks? That's what the Pentagon does. That's what's going on. It's already happening. It's been happening for decades. And any aliens that will contact this planet are bad, folks. God doesn't contact us because of free will. This is like a flu or cancer we have, this crap. So they tell us to give in to them and submit to them and go along with all this and have no morals so that they can run their operating system and poison the sky and the genetics and irrevocably attack us. We are under attack. We are under attack. This is not of this world.
Okay. I love Jones, in which heated public battles would be fought on divisive symbolic issues, while behind the scenes, both parties would actually be controlled by the same ruling elites, with the citizenry thus permanently divided and popular dissatisfaction safely channeled into meaningless dead ends that taken over the wall. We're being invaded by all those private security contractor inspired Israeli Eric Prince Blackwater groups that are running the caravans up via their drug dealing networks and sex slave trade. Russia's rulers could maintain unlimited wealth and power for themselves with very little threat to their reign. Oh boy, can we not see it at work? And all the while, America announces it will buy Iron Dome defense system from Israel. And they did that while you were worried about and genderless toilets. That's a fake issue being pushed by the same people, Soviet Israel. They run the media. Who do you think's pushing these issues, these pointless issues? Who do you think pushed to cover Donald Trump and all the crap going on? Who do you think pushed the issue of post-birth abortion? That's a fake issue. All right, they're pushing it. So you'll go, oh, because they're trying to preserve the evangelical vote for Trump. It's fake. It's all fake. Rather than talk about the biggest crisis facing the US right now, penetration, and I'm not talking level penetration, not that penetration. I'm talking about the high technology innovation edge, which makes America, which basically is not anymore. It's Israel, Russia, and China. You're being pushed to the side now, America. And if you don't stop it, you already know you're in serious trouble. If you keep focusing on these where Alex Jones wants to keep you, with the Satanists are taking over, all these generalized terms, and Alex Jones will never tell you that his man Donald Trump is deep in bed with Bibi, and he's literally Bibi's protege. He's Bibi's creation. He's Bibi's golem, rabbinic golem. All right, they run them all. And while you're fussing over and post-birth abortion, they are running the technology out the door as fast as they can because they've got limited time because someone shone a light on them. And the answer is here. You lose the technology innovation edge, All those Californian high technology people are losing their jobs. That's a great market to be penetrating. But no, let's go to the white nationalists instead. US to buy Israeli missile defenses in humiliating admission about failure of US systems. Talks about Saudi. There's the Russian girls. There are Russians, Ukrainians. Posing as Jews. And they talk about Saudi saying, well, your Patriot missile defense systems failed. We want to buy the S-400. See, Russia's beating you now. Where did they get all this stuff from? Russia couldn't invent a toilet. It's all come via the United States, via Israel. And that's what it's all about. Israel arming the enemies of the USA, stealing technology, costing jobs. It's all here for you. How Israel arms the enemies of the United States, part one. How Israel hardware backdoored anything. They've hardware backdoored Intel. Oh, and now Intel are spending billions, Israel. Intel to invest an unprecedented, you ready? Israel to invest an unprecedented, here you go, unprecedented 11 billion in Israel factory. This is where the latest design of Intel chips takes place. All right, the Core 2 series where they put the Intel management engine, that's where they put all those Intel registry backdoors into the hardware, which you know, the DEF CON crew, all the American cybersecurity people are desperately plugging because they've put probably hundreds of them in there. AMD's the same. Advanced Micro Devices, which China owns and operates now, a Taiwanese semiconductor factory, which has been moved to Malaysia, I might add. Okay, AMD, the CPUs, which are down now to 7 nanometer technology. Where do you think they got the technology for that? Where? Israel. Where do you think AMD also does all the graphics accelerator cards, and all the graphics accelerator cards are infected with these side channel attacks so they can hardware record your screen recording software? It's all in hardware. It all comes from Israel. Israel's secret weapon, the Telpiot program. Israeli drones worldwide. BB's got a kill switch. No one is safe. Qualcomm, you've heard this stuff. Qualcomm. 5G, the Internet of Things. All Israeli. The Israeli design teams. He brags about it. Erwin Jacobs, he's a traitor to the United States. Watch it. And here, I'm going to show you where it all started. Lakem, Rafi Itan, Mia, the same people that sat on Lakem, which was the Israeli institution, military intelligence set up to find advanced technology for Israel and feed it back to the Soviet Union in the 70s and before that, 60s. All right, Rafi Itan, the famous Mossad agent who stole Promise software, backdoored it, sold it back to the Department of Justice in America, sent it all over the world via Robert Maxwell. I mean, these are all his agents for the Israeli state. Gil Deezer, who sits in Trump Towers in Sunnyvale, Sunny Isles of Florida, just down the road from the Florida school shooting, right? He's Israeli military intelligence associated with Russian gangsters. It's Russia, Israel. And they're running this tech out the door. It's so big. It's really big? Well, how big? Well, here's a little taste of my raid videos coming soon in another video. Here, Detective Elizabeth Valletta and the State Security Investigation Group, Counterterrorism, are looking for material on jet propulsion laboratories, and also Mr. Stephen Lieblich, a man who I called a Mossad case officer in an email and then posted to my blog. He then complained to police stating that I had, quote, offended him. Police raided my house as I was returning to university, made me homeless. I wasn't very happy. I warn you now, there is some foul language. Watch this. There's more to come in another video.
There you go. Put the cards on. I got no dignity anymore, sweetheart. I did 5 years of this shit. From you, the WA police.
I don't want you to carry on like that.
I'm gonna carry on until people realise off out of my life. No, let's go. Take me somewhere else. Take me to a car. Let's go. Get me out of here. Take me to a car. Stephen Lieblich, the man who can ring up there. Up inside, I don't have a place to live anymore. You just came to my place where I lived, which I slaved to get, to a boarding house, and you're conducting a giant federal search for God knows what.
I find this comment offensive because it falsely implies that I am an Israeli spy. That is his sworn statement. They charged me with offending him via a carriage device. They were throwing charge after charge. Have you ever heard of this in your life?
To make lace this up, wasn't it? Yeah, some documentaries around the Middle East and 9/11 conspiracies and that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then all these blog stuff is all in there as well.
Okay, that's not under the scope of the warrant,
Yeah,
or conspiracy theories and things like that. If it's anything to do with like as a jet propulsion laboratories, Lubricant Associates, or Hodgkin Smiths, as a jet propulsion laboratories, as a jet propulsion laboratories, as a jet propulsion laboratories.
I wasn't made it for a while yet.
Yeah, I remember a mate said you went in his house, says we don't need a warrant.
I don't know which mate you're referring to. Obviously, we've got a process that we've got to go through. Okay?
What? Jet Propulsion Laboratory?
Brandon, we've got a process that we need to do. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to invite the other officers in, and then we're going to start the camera. Okay?
Wait a minute, before you go, what the hell?
It may be used in evidence. Do you understand that, Brendan?
Me, Sway, you want a circus? You want to make a fucking circus? You got one! You fucking got one! Come back inside, we'll sort this out! I don't have a fucking place to live now! You stupid little.
So what we'll do is...
What are we here for, Liz? Murder? Mass murder? Is it mass murder, Liz?
Entered.
Liz, is it mass murder? What are you here for? I offended Stephen Language!
I'm guessing this appears
I offended Stephen Language! You're in a boarding house with a nurse, a student nurse, and some guy who I don't know. That's where you are. Is this an international terrorist crime scene? Is that what it is?
Anyway, I've got a really good video coming up after I quickly do this one. So once you understand all those backdoors have been put in, all this stuff, it all was put into Israel. LACHEM, which was to find technology all over the world with a particular focus on the United States. LACHEM was disbanded just after the Pollard affair. For those that don't know, Jonathan Pollard was an American Jew with his loyalty to the state of Israel. And he was exposed and written about by other American Jews who do not have any loyalty to the state of Israel, who are very happy in the United States. Just to let you know, the best writing in that is Executive Intelligence Review, Mr. Steinberg. Now, LACHEM was disbanded after Pollard. Dick Cheney was furious. That whole neocon crowd. I'm starting to rethink a lot of things. Don't worry, I'm not about to support the neocons, but there's a few things that need to be teased out in time. But they disbanded LACHEM, but I'll tell you where they took it up. I want you, this is 1979, original legislation, the same time they were doing the Telpiot program. I think it was 78 or 79. This is the key. Thank you to the cat lady from Tennessee. Diane sent me this legislation a year ago. The United States-Israel Energy Cooperation. Here's the short version. They decided that why do things secretly? Why not fool Americans and American intelligence by coming through Israel as a revival of biblical Israel? That'll get all the evangelicals, religious people. Great Soviet Yuri Andropov. He knew how to exploit this in the modern day form, but it's been going on a while. Soviet Israel was set up at the same time as the Bolshevik Revolution. It's part of that whole Bolshevik Revolution, the Trotskyite internationalist order they're building now. All right. So what happened was, let's just put it out in the open. So what they've done is this. You're going to be amazed. You're not going to see it. It's like someone's raping your wife in the middle of the street under CCTV with a film crew, and they're saying, hey, he's raping your wife. And you're going, no, could just do it in front of everyone. I mean, someone would arrest him, wouldn't he? That must be a hologram. Or no, see, they're messing with your head. It's right here in the United States-Israel Energy Cooperation. Right? Just very briefly, go and read this. It is in the highest national security interest of the United States to develop covered energy sources. No. That's just the front. This is about stealing tech out of the West. Listen, the state of Israel is a steadfast ally. Applause, please. Is a steadfast ally of the United States. You've got to read this. It's all here. The United States-Israel Energy Cooperation Act. The special relationship. Special. Yeah. One's the sucker. It's just like a woman conning her husband. You're trying to tell the husband she's screwing around, man. No, my wife wouldn't do that. The special relationship between the United States and Israel is manifested in a variety of cooperative scientific research and development programs, such as the United States-Israel Binational Science Foundation, 1973, set up under Henry Kissinger, and President Nixon, who went to China and set up China. Are you seeing the links at the same time? Israel is running the Belt and Road, and it's sending the tech into Russia and China. Israel and Russia did 9/11 to get the US to come into the region, smash everything up, make itself look like a fool, ruin its reputation. Now they're going to shove the US back into North America and South America. And now the rest of the planet's going to be run by Russia, Israel, and China. The United States-Israel Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation. And when they broke up LeChem, you know who sat on the board of the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation, which was founded in 79. The BSF was founded in 73. Do you know who sat on that board? Rafi Itan. He went from LeChem to the bird. Come in, sucker. And then they legislated right in front of you. Like someone comes to you and says, here's a legislation, I have permission to fuck your wife. And you're going, what? It's cognitive dissonance. It's psychological warfare. They put it right in front of you. And they legislated for it. Look, from Title 42, the Public Health and Welfare, Energy Independence and Security, International Energy Programs to promote clean and efficient technologies in foreign countries. It's got nothing to do with promoting clean and efficient energy technologies in foreign countries. That's the cover. It's to do with transferring the technology to Israel, into Russia and China and building them up to run the Belt and Road and then collapse the United States. This is gold. Who's even talking about it? I had to get this sent to me by the cat lady from Tennessee, Diane. And you need to watch your stuff here. How deep is Israeli penetration of the US high-tech sector? You know those companies you think are US? They're Israeli. They're Israeli companies. DuckDuckGo? Do you use DuckDuckGo? That's got angel investors. It's Israeli. Biggest investments in Intel factories. This isn't just manufacturing the CPUs. It's design and fabrication. That's where they put the Core 2 series and all the Intel management engine. It was in Israel. Well, Russian technicians all over it. Would you allow Russian technicians to come into the US and start running your factory? You just did it in Israel. Your greatest ally ever. Do you realize how big this is? And who's talking about it? I think Thomas Lakarova talks about it occasionally. I did it big time with Mike Herzog in The American Awakening. And I think, what's his name? Blackstone Intelligence may have mentioned it. I hope True News get into this. This is the icing on the cake of the Telpiot program. So we have the United States-Israel Binational Science Foundation, the United States-Israel Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation, and if you watch BB's Got a Kill Switch, you'll see it all there. Do you remember BB bragging? Best Soviet scientist.
Best metallurgist?
Best metallurgist. Russia, Soviet.
Unqualified, I think I'd say the Soviet Union.
Do you want me to repeat that? Unqualified, I think the Soviet Union. That's how they got him in.
Qualified, I think I'd say the Soviet Union.
Watch that video. I love that video. That is the product. 10,000 views. It should have 1 million views. That is a product of the hacking. I had to go away for my 3-day visa run, and I had the long version done, and I couldn't upload the long version. Computers were crashing, couldn't connect. And while I was in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, I made this short one. Best thing that ever happened. Thank you, God. BB has the kill switch, and it's all based around the Binational Science Foundation, the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation. Henry Kissinger put that in place. Henry Kissinger, Council on Foreign Relations, still there, still doing it. Kissinger and Associates in China. Rittenberg and Associates in China. The handler for Mao. These programs have made possible many scientific, technological, and commercial breakthroughs in the fields of life sciences, medicine, bioengineering, agriculture, biotechnology, communications, and others, and missile intercept technology. Because you're too dumb and stupid. And Elbit System has to write all your code for the F-35, don't they? Yeah, and build wing parts. And Turkey, of course, has to build engine parts, don't they? And then they buy the Russian S-4. Do you see this disaster? Lockheed, all the military-industrial complex, Boeing, Lockheed, especially Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, they all have to go. All the heads have to roll. Public inquiries to what they've done.
I may ask Marilyn Lockheed, the leading woman's business executive in this country, according to many. And we buy billions and billions of dollars worth of that beautiful F-35. It's stealth. You cannot see it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Better be correct, right?
significant contributions to development of renewable energy and energy efficiency through the established programs of the United States, Israel, Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation, and the United States Israel Binational Science Foundation, which is literally Lakem-based Soviet Israel, Israeli military intelligence. And as we know, Israel is filled with Russians. They run the place. Russians run it, most of whom don't even identify as Jewish. On February the 1st, 1996, the Secretary of Energy, referred to in this section as the Secretary, and the Israeli Minister of Energy and Infrastructure signed an agreement to establish a framework for collaboration between the United States and Israel in energy research and development activities. That's the cover. Energy research. No. It's the massive transfer of the US high technology sector into Israel, China, and Russia as they build the Belt and Road project. This has been planned for years. This is a Soviet-era plan, Stalinist pan-Eurasian plan. That's all it is. Israel and Russia did 9/11 to force the US into the region, to smash the place to pieces. Now, DOD say, well, let China, Alex Jones said, let China go in there and get killed. No. China, with Israeli technology they stole off the US, which Alex Jones allows to happen. That's what Alex Jones is, the biggest traitor of all, for all his talk. He's the biggest traitor of all. He has a massive audience. He could stop this single-handed by taking this information. He won't touch it. That's what they're doing. Israel did 9/11, Russia did 9/11. It was part of that Bolshevik internationalist Trotskyite plan. Trotsky was the internationalist. They wanted to flood immediately in 1919 into Western Europe, and it was Polish Catholics who stopped them. Who even knows this? Threw them back across the Vistula. Polish Catholics taking heavy casualties. So sick of attacking that. Look, listen. The Catholic Church is not evil. The people within the Catholic Church are evil. They're infiltrated. And if you want to do BB a favor, destroy the Catholic Church. Enhanced cooperation between, do you remember the Catholic President Kennedy? They killed him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
With the Fulbright Commission, Senator Fulbright?
Senator, another area that I'd like to get into is the role of lobbies in the conduct of American foreign policy, which we touched on briefly yesterday. As you know, very often the lobbies that are effective often deny the fact that they're a lobby or that they constitute a lobby. And in particular, the ones we were talking about yesterday were the pro-Israeli lobby, the defense lobby.
And then I had voted against an amendment to an aid bill introduced by Paul Douglas intended to force the Egyptians to open the canal to the Israelis. On an aid bill, I took the position that it was wrong to use an aid bill as a vehicle to impose a political decision on a foreign government. I thought, as a matter of procedure, as chairman, as one of the persons interested, I opposed it. And therefore, I immediately became anti-Semitic in the views of the Jews. I don't think it had anything to do with that, but he spoke in New York to a gathering, and he went completely, as far as you can go, in pledging his support and undying allegiance to the causes of Israel. Just as an example of any man who's seeking to run for the presidency believes it's important and essential. The other good recent example of the contrary was when John Connally made a statement that he, more or less to the effect that he believed in an even-handed approach in the Middle East. It was 2 or 3 weeks later, you heard no more about him. He bowed out. Now, I can't say, no way in politics to prove a precise causal effect. Maybe it's coincidental, but I don't think so. Not that he may have had any effect otherwise, I mean, for other reasons, but that was a death knell in itself.
Well, one last question on this issue, and again, this isn't just on the Israeli lobby, but in all cases, defense issues and others.
And those who don't, like Paul Findlay in Illinois, are no longer around. And they're after Chuck Percy now. I mean, I've seen the literature. They're after him, and it will be a miracle if he can survive. And all he did is that he made statements in the past that he believed in what used to be called even-handed treatment, that we ought to consider the interests of the Arabs along with the Israelis. And that is not enough, and it isn't satisfactory.
Senator, you said in the...
Let me add further, this is a very sensitive subject. I really don't think you ought to put this on the public record because I'm afraid it will injure Duke. You're still in business. I'm out of business. It doesn't matter with me. I'm only... but Duke, I hope, doesn't get...
Fortunately, we don't have to be elected, so it's not a problem.
But Duke has to be the acceptance by the public. You still are a going institution, I hope, and you will continue to be. But I think you ought to think twice before you allow such things. I made a very casual statement once on Face the Nation. They asked me why. They had asked me, why don't we stop shipment of arms into the Middle East? I said, we ought to, but we can't. And they said, why not? I said, because Israel has 75% of the votes in the Congress. Oh, my goodness, the lid really flew off, and I was condemned, harassed terribly over such a statement. I thought I was just stating a simple fact. It's a dangerous issue. It's a dangerous issue.
Senator, why might we change it then for the long-term health of Duke?
I don't think you ought to put that. I would recommend you take that off the record.
McCarthy, you're going to have to kiss McCarthy's ass. I'm sorry. He was well and truly onto it. Did he? Was he a little bit aggressive? Yes. You're going to have to see things totally differently. That's why they killed Kennedy. Michael Collins Piper, please. Michael Collins Piper. Didn't get everything right, but man, you got to read his books. Enhanced cooperation. That was your last real president, Kennedy. After that, it was downhill completely from there. Enhanced cooperation between the United States and Israel for the purpose of research and development of covered energy sources would be in the national interest of both cases. It's not, I love it. Energy sources. So people think, oh, it must be like solar, wind power, oil and gas. No, it's technology transfer. The United States-Israel energy cooperation and development of natural resources by Israel are in the strategic interest of the United States. Israel is a strategic partner of the United States in water technology. You watch that water technology. Remember The Big Short? Remember the housing collapse? Dr. What's-his-face? Do you remember him? The one that warned of the collapse? Well, he does nothing but invest in water technology now. The United States can play a role in assisting Israel with regional safety and security issues. Imagine that. Yuri Andropov, the KGB master spy, managed to get the United States in its modern incarnation, managed to get it to support his intelligence operation and pay for it. They are giggling themselves stupid back there in Moscow Center, FSB, GRU. Look what they've managed to achieve. And then they put their own president in, Donald Trump. Fuck. It's going to go down in history. And look, Hillary's no option. They run them both. It's just easier to run Donald. It's like having to run someone through 2 phone calls, 2 intermediaries. You still run them, but it's more difficult. With Trump, it's just he just does exactly what he's told. But not necessarily right now. President matters, please. The National Science Foundation of the United States, to the extent consistent with the National Science Foundation's mission, should collaborate with the Israels. Should collaborate. This is legislated. You're being ordered by Urian Dropoff, the king of the KGB, via his intermediary Israel, to cooperate and hand over your technology. You think I'm laughing because it's so absurd. They did it, and you accepted it. And it took the cat lady. She's an animal lover who rescues animals from Tennessee, Diane. It took Diane to come and bring this up. She don't have any subscribers. She don't have a YouTube channel. She goes through me. I have 17,000 subscribers and maybe get 5,000, 6,000 views. Think about it. The National Science Foundation of the United States, to the extent consistent with the National Science Foundation's mission, should collaborate with the Israel Science Foundation and the United States-Israel Binational Science Foundation. The United States and Israel should strive to develop more robust academic cooperation. Oh, you bet. You bet. Because even when you end the Chinese, that's all right. They'll just get it straight off the Israelis. Energy innovation, technology and engineering. Water science. Watch, that's a big one. Watch the water science. That's another one of their control mechanisms. All the water tables poison. Oh my God, we've got a water shortage. Wait for that. You had peak oil, now you're going to have peak water. Oh God, who can save us? We're in trouble. There's no fresh water. Hello, Israel. We are here to help you. We understand Americans are a little stupid. We stole your time. I mean, we invented all this stuff and we're willing to sell it back to you. I mean, it's the scam of scams, and they're all Russians. I don't even blame Russia. This is just sweet revenge for 1992. But then that's just the same people who did that to them is the same people allowing this to happen. Who runs the IMF? Water science, technology transfer, ding, ding. Analysis of emerging geopolitical implications, crises and threats from foreign natural resource and energy acquisitions. Hello, Syria. You and your new friend Bibi. Bibi and Putin, you idiots. You idiots. And the development of domestic resources as a response. Israel's already claiming they've cured cancer. I told you this would happen. A blessing unto the nations. They'll have levitation, anti-gravitics. Read Nick Cook, The Hunt for 0 Point. They've probably had anti-gravitics since the 1950s. That's anti-gravity. The Foo Fighters in Germany. Go and read it up yourself. It's in history books. The United States supports the goals of alternative fuels. Look, it's nothing about alternative fuels, just technology transfer. But they've got the John Bedini, the Tom Bearden, free energy stuff. They've got it all. They've got it all already. The United States strongly urges open dialogue and continued mechanisms for regular engagement. Oh, you bet they do. All right, because we're not going to do it with China anymore. We'll do it through Israel. And encourages further cooperation between applicable departments, agencies, ministries, institutions of higher education and the private sector of the United States and Israel on energy security issues, including identifying policy. All right. We can go on and on. Go and read it. It's all about engaging and stealing technology. That's what it's all about. So everything they're doing to China, no one seems to be doing with Israel. So they put out a couple of warnings. Oh, please, baby. And if it wasn't for me and my friends giving you this and the cat lady from Tennessee, think about it. Do you think this issue would ever have gotten legs anywhere, ever? I guarantee you nothing would have happened if it would not been for me and me sticking at that for 10 years. I guarantee you. Wait for my next video after this. This is a quick one.
You came to intimidate me the last time I was on. I'm not being nice this time, Tim.
Look.
Tim. You have, oh, mate. Not a chance. I'll fight this to the death, Tim. You are a corrupt copper. You are corrupt. And you think I'm an idiot, don't you? Smirk face. Brendan. This is about SAS Campbell Barracks, Leon Wind, Variant. Timothy, you told me that Variant does your local and national, your local police intercept from Israeli intelligence front.
Pop you in the car.
Yeah, I know you are, Tim. Fuck you, Tim.
You're going to see all my raid video footage in my next one. You're going to hear me effing and screaming at the police. They just raid me till I had to leave the country. This over this. The United States and Israel have a shared interest in addressing immediate, near-term and long-term energy poverty, energy independence and environmental challenges facing the United States and Israel respectively. I mean, why? I mean, you must. Why not Iceland? Why doesn't the United States cooperate with Iceland? Maybe Swaziland. They did it. Soviet Israel did it. We'll come in under a biblical resurgence to get us, sneak ourselves in the door. The snake will slither in. Oh, I'm a biblical resurgence. Look at me. It's all Russia. Go and have a look. It's not really about the money. It's about tunnels into the system. Remember, the first man, I'm going to sum it up here, all right? You've just read this. This is the key. True News, please do a follow-up. True News is great. They're perfect for this. They've got to get Alex Jones's audience.
All right, they're making their move now. They're globalizing Zionism. And they know that technology is the way for Zionism to rule the world. They had to do it prior to technology. They had to do it the old-fashioned way. All right? Human intel. That's the old-fashioned way. They had to infiltrate, all right? Technology allows them to rapidly expand around the world.
And that's what we saw. We played the quote previously of the former head of Unit 8200, Israel's NSA, saying that we can create bots, robots, online, artificial intelligent bots that can become the police. They can become the soldiers for this future push to become the controllers, the guardians of the World Wide Web.
That's where we're at. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Well, just to go into a little bit more about Talpiot, just shortly, to
keep pushing this. You're in suits, you're respectable, you're perfect. And they've snuck it in under the public health and welfare, energy independence and security, subchapter international energy programs. Assistance to promote clean and efficient energy technologies in foreign countries. No, it should be assistance to promote technology transfer to Soviet Israel to facilitate the rise of Russia and China. That's what it's about. Council on Foreign Relations, Communism for Rothschild. I'm going to leave it there. Israel investing another 11 billion, unprecedented. Baby's got a kill switch you must watch. And America's so stupid now it can't even run a decent missile defense system. And you can wonder where all that excess money for the F-35 went. Just remember, Elbit Systems wrote all that code. The multifunction displays, the helmets. I'm telling you now, Elbit Systems would have written most of that code. Remember the guys that come out and said it was the code. The main problem was the code. And Israel says, are you having problems? Oh, well, we've got an Israeli team, maybe Erwin Jacobs from Qualcomm. You know, maybe he can help us. You know, and, you know, oh, your Windows isn't working properly. You know, 90% of users use Windows, Active Directory, Windows Management Instrumentation, Trusted Installer. Oh, all the computers of the world use Windows. We've got Israeli teams that can help you with that. And now the Pentagon wants to put in that centralized server. Guess who's running that? Oh, my God. America. It's worse than you know. But it can be fixed. If you can face it, God can fix it. I believe I was put on this earth just to point this out. Seriously. It's got to stop. God bless you. I got a really good video coming up. I'm putting everything in context. This is a 2-hour monster coming up. You're going to see me screaming at police. You can see me hopping up and down. It's pretty funny. I haven't watched the raid videos in entirety. I was like, oh, I can't watch them. But you're going to see the big picture. And I'm going to make shorter videos. It's got a really good start. Now, I said something very bad. I said, don't worry about money. Listen, I'm going to have to stay here a few more months. Please, if you've got money, send it. As someone said, why are you telling people not to send money, you idiot? Well, at the time, I had $1,000, so I was, woo! And I thought I was leaving quick. I can't. I need to store for more time while I speak with the lawyers. And I said, I'm not going to the US to apply for asylum until the lawyers will do an interview. And they said they'll do it. So I've got to get everything just right. I've got to get that stack of paperwork in an emailable PDF document. And it's going to have pictures and links all contained within. And I'm going to publicly publish it. And we're going to talk about it with the lawyers. It's going to be so a bureaucrat, when they get that, they understand I'm a national security whistleblower. I have been tortured. I mean, I have been tortured. All right? Iran didn't want to talk about it, or why would they? They're benefiting via the technology transfers from America to Israel to Russia to China. Because they're a central part of the Belt and Road. No wonder they didn't want to borrow it. So now you're getting it. So please, the links are underneath. My bank account's there. They wrecked my PayPal and they wrecked my Patreon. I'll put the links to Bitcoin and stuff there. But what can I tell you? The more money you have, the better. At the moment, I've got about $4,000, $2,000 of which has to be reserved for air tickets. I can't get anyone to do a credit card for me, so I have to keep it in my bank account. Hopefully that'll keep working with my debit credit card, and I have $2,000 cash on me. That's it. It's costing me roughly $1,000 a week. I could squeeze that down to 800 Australian. So that's where I'm at. So yeah, please send on. Who else is telling you this? I don't have 400,000 subscribers like Blackstone Intelligence. Apparently someone said, oh no, he's been mentioning it. Yeah, mentioning it. This is a catastrophe. It's a matter of urgency, and it's got to be pushed night and day and not associated with the white nationalist movement. It's got to be kept clean, not pure, just clean. And thank God for True News. Thanks for watching. There you go. Americans are too stupid. Their multi-billion, almost trillion-dollar military-industrial complex can't get a missile to work, and they got to send it off to the chosen Russian people over here in Israel land. And I assure you, when you read between the lines, they use that picture deliberately. I'm telling you now, I'm reaching the highest levels. You know, I'm speaking, you wouldn't believe what I speak to. One day you'll see. One day. One day. See that picture? They use that quite deliberately. Every picture you see, they don't just be, oh, that picture will do, we'll throw that in. No, 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 no. I want you to read that picture. Alex Lockie, Business Insider. Look at that picture. That's telling you something. See the Semitic looking girl over here? See the blonde haired girl, fair skinned girl over here? There's Russia. And there's biblical Israel. And biblical Israel is looking over going, what? That picture's quite deliberate. All right? The synagogue of Satan, there be those that say they are Jews or not. They're of the synagogue of Satan. Remember the beast's head that was wounded as if unto death? That's Soviet Union. Is back. It's come alive again. You see, the beast system, not the Russian people, but the beast system. Russia, China, Israel, and Iran now. And US, it's got a new parasite. Better fix this problem quick. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.
Well, a bird, bird, bird. But bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Well, a bird, bird. But bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. But bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Chris, don't you know about the bird? Man, everybody knows that the bird is the word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird is the word. Hey, guy behind the counter. The bird is the word. Hey, frightened little child. The bird is the word. Lady on the toilet. The bird is the word. Hey, don't you know about the bird?
Sure, everybody knows that the bird is the word.
Well, a bird, bird. But bird's a word. Well, a bird. Again, I love repetition.
It's 4 a.m. and I am being completely destroyed by a Chinese communist cricket in the room. I think I'd rather be in Gaza. I'm going to kill that cricket. My grandmother taught me crickets are lucky and never kill a cricket, but this cricket's got to go.